Well, hello there, boys and girls. Miss Loren's back here again today with a new read aloud for you all. I love the responses I got from yesterday's reading. You guys are really getting super creative, and I love that you are taking this time away from school to continue doing some work with some of the stories that we're doing. So made me really happy to see some of the stuff. I loved Kanira's story that she sent me, and that was probably one of the ones that really stood out to me the most. Was it's just so creative and so thoughtful that you guys are really thinking about what we're reading and then doing a fun activity that relates to it. So today's story is called Not Norman, a goldfish story. I've been home a lot, obviously, and so have you guys. So I've been spending a lot of time with my wonderful pet Milo, who is not a goldfish, but is a dog. And so this story is one of my favorites because it talks a lot about our pets and being grateful for them and why they are so wonderful. And so we're going to read the story together, and then I'll have a fun book challenge for you at the end. So the story is called Not Norman, a Goldfish Story, and the story is written by Kelly Bennett and illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. Not Norman. Let's take a look. When I got Norman, I didn't want to keep him. I wanted a different kind of pet. Not Norman. You know, when we read What Pet Should I Get last week, that's one that we said tends to be a little bit easier to take care of goldfish because they really don't require much maintenance. All you have to really do is, make sure they're fed and their tank is clean. So I'm sure our friend here is not really thrilled about a fish when you could have something like a dog or a cat that you might think sounds so much more exciting. So he doesn't seem too thrilled about his present. I wanted a pet who could run and catch, or one who could climb trees and chase strings. A soft, furry pet to sleep on my bed at night. Not Norman. All Norman does is swim around and 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 around. We even had to take him to the park in a wagon. It's gotta be hard. This is it, Norman, I decide. I'm trading you for a good pet. Norman doesn't move. Not even a fin twitches. How can I trade him like this? No one will want a sorry-looking fish in a gunky bowl. When I drop Norman into his nice, clean bowl, he starts dipping and flipping and flapping his fins around. He looks so goofy, I have to laugh. Don't think that just because you made me laugh, I'm going to keep you, I tell him. Tomorrow, you're out of here. Norman blows a stream of bubbles. So he starts to take care of him, takes care of cleaning his bowl, and Norman's happy and starts to show off and flip and flap and do all these cute things that are kind of funny. Maybe he might change his mind. Maybe he might want to keep Norman. The next day, I take Norman to school with me. If I talk him up real good during show and tell, maybe someone will want him. On the way there, we see my friend Austin. Austin has a real cool dog and 7 puppies. Want to swap one of your pups for Norman, I ask. Who's Norman? Asks Austin. My goldfish, I say. By the time I rescue Norman, half his water is gone. So all those crazy puppies, I guess his friend Austin couldn't control them all. So they're all over the place, and you see 2 of them back there looking into Norman's bowl, trying to lick all the water out. Poor Norman looks a little frightened. Puppies are a lot of responsibility, we said, right? Like, they're not something that you can just have at home and feed when you feel like it and take for a walk when you feel like it. They're really a lot of responsibility. Even looks like his friend Austin really can't handle all 8 of his dogs that he has. It's a lot of responsibility. 1 dog is a lot of responsibility. I'm sorry, I tell Norman when we get to school. I'm really sorry. He just stares at me, all googly-eyed. Goldfish tend to have really big eyes that they look all silly with. Finally, it's my turn to show and tell. Just as I start to talk about Goldfish, Emily shouts, "Jenny's gone! Who let my snake loose?" Oh, gosh. There's the little girl Emily looking for her pet snake, Jenny. Definitely wouldn't want a pet snake. Little creepy. And you don't know what kind of trouble they can get into. I would much rather have a goldfish, I think. Yikes. Let's see what happens. Does anyone hear the story of does anyone want to hear the story of how I got Norman? Does anyone even ask to hold his bowl? No. They're all jumping and screaming and chasing the snake. Not Norman. He's looking right at me. Thanks for listening, I tell him. All the kids and the teacher even is like running crazy, dropping things, knocking things over. And our friend is just kind of sitting in the front of the room, wanting to tell about his fish. And no one wants to listen. The only one that's listening is his friend Norman. That's a really nice thing, being able to sit there and talk to even a pet. Sometimes when you just want to talk to somebody, it doesn't matter if it's a person or a stuffed animal or a dog or a cat or a goldfish. Sometimes it's just nice to be heard. So, Norman was a good listener. I don't know, that's 2 things that Norman was really helpful for. Let's see. That afternoon, we go to my music lesson. As soon as it's over, I'm taking Norman back to the pet store. I take out my tuba and begin to play. Boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 boo, boo, ba, boo, beep, beep. I glance over at Norman. He's swaying back and forth. Glug, 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 he mouths. Look, Norman's singing, I say. Pay attention, snaps Maestro, and try to play the proper notes. Guess Norman's pretty cool. He's singing along with the tuba. Guess our friend got distracted though and got in some trouble. Maestro makes me stay for extra practice. By the time my lesson is over, it's too late to go to the pet store. Don't think that just because you like my music, I'm going to keep you, I tell Norman. He glugs. I don't know, Norman's starting to seem like a pretty cool pet. He can do some cool tricks. He doesn't just swim around in his bowl all day. He's very sweet and he'll listen to you. And now we find out he likes music. And he likes to sing. It's a pretty cool goldfish. That night, I'm sound asleep when screech, screech. What's that noise? Scratch, screech, screech. Yikes! There's something at my window. Then out of the corner of my eye, I spot. Wonder what he sees. Norman! He isn't scared. He isn't swimming around in circles either. He glugs and gives me a little wave. I'm not alone. Together, Norman and I slide open the curtains. It was just a broken tree branch. So it was just a tree branch against his window, but it definitely spooked him. But thank goodness he had Norman there to keep him company and cheer him up. Thanks for watching out for me, Norman. Wow, Norman's a good pet. He was just watching out for him, checking out, making sure he was okay. On Saturday, I take Norman to the pet store, just like I said I would. I look at the cats and the dogs and the snakes and the birds. I look at the hamsters and mice and lizards too. They all look like good pets, but they are not Norman. I think our little friend has decided that Norman is actually a pretty good pet after all. Can't blame him. I think he's pretty cool too. When I got Norman, I wasn't sure I wanted to keep him. But now, even if I could pick any pet in the whole world, I wouldn't trade him. Not Norman. So he decided to keep Norman. And there's a little sign on his fish tank that says, Norman, one amazing fish. Looks like you got him a nicer fish tank too to take care of. So nice. The end. So I really like that story. I think one of the things that I like about it is it reminds us that, even though pets are a responsibility, they're also there for us in a bunch of different ways. I know when I'm scared or upset, Milo's always there to take care of me. Not like tuck me into bed or like make me dinner, but he'll do things like cuddle up next to me if I'm sad, or cheer me up and make me, take him to go on a walk or play at the park. So pets are great in that way, that they're there to help us control our feelings and help us express our feelings too. I know I can always go to Milo and talk to him about anything. And he doesn't judge me because he's a dog. So that's one of the great things about having a pet, is that they're always there for you even when you don't feel like anybody else is. So one of the book challenges that I have for you today, if you're up for it, is to think about a pet you have. And why you think that pet might make a good pet. Why are they a great friend to have around? Norman was a great example of that. Maybe your dog cuddles you when you're sad, or maybe your cat purrs and brushes against you when you're feeling lonely. Why is your pet so great to have around? Maybe they're just fun. They're cheerful. Maybe you have a hamster that makes you giggle. I don't know. So if you have a pet, tell me about your pet, tell me their name, and tell me some of the reasons you think they're a great pet. What do they do that makes you excited to come home to them every day after school, or get to hang out with them now? If you don't have a pet, you can either come up with one that you would like to have and why you think it would be a great pet, or you can tell me about Norman. Why was Norman a great pet? What were some of the things that he did that convinced his owner that he was worth sticking around? So that's your challenge for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I know I did. And I'll be back on tomorrow with another read aloud for you and another book challenge. So have a great night, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.